the cloud. Oh, Tara. Okay, hold on, y'all. Make sure everyone's in here. Okay, cool. I'm going to start now and we'll get rocking and rolling. So I'm going to minimize this. We'll present. All right. Can everyone see this? Can someone unmute themselves really quick and let me know if y'all can see this?
We see it.
Cool. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to talk today about how you can prioritize yourself in a season of hustle. I know that a lot of people who are on this call are very, very busy women, and it's very overwhelming sometimes to start your fitness journey or try to keep up with it while you have a lot going on in your life. So we are going to cover a lot today. Ultimately, if you are here, I'm sure that you have experienced that midday crash around 1 to 2 p.m. Despite the caffeine you are loading up on. You are going all day without eating because you're stressed out and very busy, just to come home and eat everything in sight before you even start dinner. Or maybe you have the realization that not putting yourself first for years has really left you in a body you no longer recognize. Weight loss resistance despite continuous, consistent effort to lose body fat, or ultimately just a lack of direction. You know what you should be doing, but you see no progress, and then onsets the fear of failure and wasting your valuable time. And so you throw in the towel because it's just like, why even put my efforts into this ultimately? So let's now really get into first who I am. I'm Renee, if you don't know who I am. I've been an exercise and nutrition specialist for a little over 6 years now. I work with hundreds of women to really gain their power back by prioritizing their self and their health. And I just ultimately make health simple for the busy woman. So my promise to you throughout this next hour is you're going to walk away knowing what to implement now to move that needle forward. You're also going to have a solution to at least one, probably more, if I'm being honest, of your sticking points, and a very clear path to become your most confident, energetic, and fulfilled future self. Overall, let's cover what this is not going to be. It's not going to be a quick fix. My coaching philosophy is establishing habits that allow you to live your best life, and your results are simply a byproduct, not the main focus. I will not be providing you a quick way to lose 20 pounds. I will, however, show you the things you can implement today to start moving that needle forward while prioritizing your health. It's also not going to be a macro workshop. You can find hundreds of those and hundreds of resources on how to find your macros. I'm not here to fill the next hour with information that you can get from Sally down the street. I'm really here to give you a jam-packed value for the next hour so that you can truly make a difference in your hectic life. And then lastly, it's not one-to-one coaching either. I'm going to cover the biggest needle movers that I implement with my clients, but this is not a personalized program. This is a general advice that is applicable to high achieving women who feel stuck, or worse, like you are backpedaling when it comes to your body, physically, mentally, and internally. So we're going to jump right in, get out your notes and drop questions in the chat for me to answer at the very end. We'll have a Q&A time. If you take a photo throughout this masterclass, the most helpful part you're finding, share to your story on Instagram and tag me. I'm going to enter you into a giveaway. It's for free coaching. No secret here. It will be a month of free coaching you're going to be entered into to win. All right. So let's first set the standard. Your future self is a huge thing I talk about with my clients within TRW. And so if you implement this next framework I'm going to cover with you, you are going to move yourself forward in life, not just health and fitness. I think health and fitness is the overall aspect of what we're focusing on today, but my goal is to have you live a better life. It is one of the most pivotal parts of coaching, and what I do think makes coaching within the Resilient Woman different. So this is the roadmap to your future self. And it's kind of confusing. I'm going to go walk through this with you. So we are first going to look at your current version of you. Where are you at? How are you feeling? Where are we stuck? Where are we striving? Where do we want to go? Kind of just like walk me through where you're currently at. I'm going to have a worksheet that's going to go through all this with you. So don't figure this out right now. It's kind of a lot to think about. I'm just going to walk you through again how to fill this out. We're next going to figure out beliefs that are holding you back currently, habits your future self is going to have, and qualities your future self has as well. We're next going to skip past the filter and go down to your future self, okay? We're going to figure this out on the next slide as well. I'm going to give you some pondering questions in there. But after you figure out your future self, I want you to go back and figure out your filter. Your filter is going to be the thing we're going to make all decisions through. If you're going to eat that cookie, if you're going to go on that walk, if you're going to get 8 hours of sleep, all of the things that we kind of question, like, should I do this? Do I want to do this? Is it worth it? We're going to run through our filter. If it's going to help to get you to your future self, the answer is yes. If it's a no, we're not going to do it. So going on top of your future self, I want you to focus on envisioning this person. Envision her. What does she look like? How does she show up daily? How does she impact people who are in her presence? What does she wear? How does she feel in her clothes? How does she feel about herself? When you are filling out this roadmap to your future self, whenever this call is done, I want you to think about these questions and really ponder on this. And I want you to think scary, like this should be big. This should not be like, if that happens, like it's totally attainable. Like I want you to think like so big, like I'm wearing Louis Vuittons and I'm walking into 5-star hotels and it's nothing for me. Like I want you to think large, very, very big, very huge. So let's get into your initial steps, because now that we've established where you want to go, it's now time to figure out what you need to implement to start seeing forward movement towards your goals. So first is nutrition. A lot of women come to me under eating or trying to go into a caloric deficit because usually fat loss is the goal. I want you for the next 12 weeks at least to eat at your TDEE. This is your total daily energy expenditure. This is what you pretty much need every day and what you burn throughout your day to just function as a normal human being. There will be a corresponding worksheet with everything I'm going to covering on this whole entire call. It's also going to include a link to the calculator I recommend to find this for you, so don't worry about that just yet. Whether your goal is fat loss or body recomp or toning or muscle building, you need to spend a good amount of time in a maintenance period, especially if you are a stressed out woman, because hormones are very, very important here. And I'm pretty sure most of us are not eating enough, not eating enough of the right things, or have not spent enough time in a maintenance period to fulfill what you need internally. The next step, here's some grocery list 2 ideas. That's going to be also in your worksheet, but just kind of ideas. Protein, carbs, and fats. I recommend if you're making a grocery list, I separate my grocery list into my protein, carbs, and fat options. Helps me make sure I have enough for each of my macronutrient groups. Also keeps you on the outside aisles, not on the little inside aisles as well. Next thing is going to be stress and emotional eating. This is very, very prevalent with a lot of my women who are very stressed out because stress kind of takes over, and we tend to mix hunger cues with like true hunger cues with emotional and stress-driven hunger cues. So eating on a schedule will ultimately help this to help regulate leptin. This is your satiety hormone. I have my clients use a hunger scale when they're checking. We kind of figure out like where they're on the hunger scale to assess true hunger versus emotional stress triggered hunger. So staying within that 2 to 4, I'll show you in a second, on the hunger scale will help you not go too long without eating. Also, when there is a substantial time between feeding windows, it's very likely you're going to overeat the next time you eat. Hence, very beginning where you go all day without eating, you don't eat anything for your entire day because you're super stressed out and very, very busy. Come home, snack on everything, you're not even hungry after dinner or before dinner even starts. So here's a hunger scale from 1 to 5. So you're going to have 1, we're ravenous, uncomfortably hungry. We are just like, I'll eat the world at this point. 2, a little hungry, you could eat. You're not like starving, but you're like knowing, okay, it's time to start getting my next meal thought of. 3 is we're neutral. We're not super hungry. We're not super full. We're just like, we're good. We don't like, there's no kind of feelings about food at this point. 4 is we're satisfied. We're full. 5, we are uncomfortably full. This is like you're unbuttoning your pants because your pants are too tight at this point because you ate a whole lot. Hence like Thanksgiving or Christmas time, like kind of think about those times. So we want to stay within the 2 to 4. So we want to start again eating or thinking about food and we're going to eat next when we're at a 2. We want to get to a 4. Once we have 8, we're going to go back down to a 3 over time, back down to a 2, time to eat again, back to a 4. We want to stay again in these spots. When we go in this spot, we've overate, probably because we were at a 1 first and we were not looking at our hunger cues or acknowledging that we were hungry and needed to eat in the first place. Next thing to focus on is your caloric makeup. So 3 big things to focus on here is eating high protein meals. This will help you to feel more satiated, but also has the highest thermic effect of food. So if you're in a fat loss phase, this will help. Either way, it's going to be very, very, very beneficial for you towards your goals. Next is eating a mix of macronutrients at meals and during snacks. A lot of times snacks tend to be just a carb source or a fat source, like you're going to grab a handful of nuts or grab some crackers, right? We want to have, even if it's a snack, we want to have a complete snack. What this means is a fully balanced meal. We are going to look at having a protein, a carb, and a fat and a fiber source. If it's a snack, even like a protein and a carb source or a protein and a fat source, we want to have at least 2 different macronutrients for our snacks, but we want to shoot for all 4 for an actual meal. And then lastly is consuming or supplementing with an omega-3 fatty acid. Fish oil is going to be what the omega-3 fatty acid is, but this will help overall with mitigating inflammation in your body. Okay, depleted energy is a huge one. A lot of women that, again, work with me are like, I am running on empty. I don't have any energy. I wake up tired. I go to sleep and I can't fall asleep, so I'm so exhausted from the day. So this usually will stem from 2 things. We've already solved one, which is low calories. We're going to go up to, again, your TDE to make sure we're eating enough food. And then the second part will be electrolyte imbalances. There are 3 big ones we're going to focus on here: magnesium, potassium, and sodium. With that being said, how do you even know you may have an imbalance with your electrolytes? You're fatigued, you're very bloated, shortness of breath. This means like not when you're working out, like if you're like walking up some stairs, that could also be cardiovascular, but usually like we're going to be shortness of breath if we're carrying groceries inside, like tasks that should not be depleting your energy stores overall. Next is lack of mental clarity, headaches, and high blood pressure. So with this, getting it in through your nutrition can be done. It is more difficult. So I recommend supplementing with a supplement. So either Relight or LMNT packets are my recommendations. I personally utilize Relight. Recommend clients, again, to use Relight too. LMNT come in little packets, so they are more easy to travel with and carry with you if you go into work or you're traveling. But Relight has a better, I feel like, proportionate of all of the electrolytes in there. So both are great options. But if you are questioning if you even have an electrolyte imbalance, I would honestly try for 30 days. Buy the supplements, try it for 30 days. If you notice a difference, that's going to be one solution for you. If you don't, it's not going to happen. It's like, that's not like what needs to be fixed right now. Most of my clients who I've recommended this to have taken them. They're like, oh my gosh, I noticed a tremendous difference in my energy. So if you are having an electrolyte imbalance, you will notice a difference within 30 days. So I recommend if you want to try it out, give it at least 30 days and run with it that way. Okay. Next is cortisol regulation. So if you're stressed out, this is for you. As a busy woman, cortisol will become a major concern for us in regards to you seeing progress. Elevated cortisol can lead to your body working against you. So cortisol, this is my coffee drinkers in the morning, this is for you. Cortisol will naturally be higher in the morning and lower throughout your day. We will touch on this in a second. But first, how do you even know if cortisol may be high for you? One is weight gain, particularly around the midsection, upper back, and coupled with face surrounding. Next is difficulty concentrating. We're irritable. We have a lot of mood swings. We're anxious. We're depressed. We have a lot of menstrual changes, or we have low libido. And then another option of having high cortisol could be muscle weakness, slow to heal, and poor recovery after you are done training, or just like doing daily mundane tasks that should not require our body to feel so depleted. How do we fix this? How do we support healthy cortisol levels? So it's really highly recommended. Again, coffee drinkers or even energy drinkers. I love energy drinks, so that's like my vice, but it's recommended to wait at least 90 minutes after you wake before drinking caffeine. And always make sure, always, it's with breakfast or after breakfast. It needs to be with some kind of food in your system. Your body has already been running on cortisol in the morning. That's how you wake up. You wake up with a surge of cortisol. That's just how you open your eyes in the morning. So it's very important that we have a full balanced meal prior to protect and aid in healthy hormones and gut health too. Next is caffeine can be easily abused. I was very, very prone to this and overconsumed when you are running on fumes. I would have a cup of coffee in the morning and then the energy drink and then maybe like another cup of coffee. I was having, I don't even know how much milligrams, but probably over 400 milligrams of caffeine a day. So that's recommended for the Western medicine, like American people don't exceed this. I don't love that at all. I recommend to be in a healthy range, about 200 to 250 milligrams of caffeine a day. You should not need more than that to function. If you do, you have a real problem. Too much caffeine can lead to cortisol and hormone issues, disrupted sleep, and digestion. Next is caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours. So I do recommend stopping caffeine around 6 to 8 hours at minimum before your bedtime. Okay, so I would not be drinking coffee at like 5 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the middle of the day if you're going to bed at 6 o'clock the next day. One of the more, I would say, important things in this whole entire thing I've covered so far is your circadian rhythm. This is really hard to get back to normal. So I would really focus on this a lot. The other ones they're not quick fixes, but they can be solved pretty fast, aside from cortisol. But circadian rhythm is going to be a very large change in your routine. So it's going to take a little bit of commitment on your end. But if your circadian rhythm is out of whack, this is going to wreak havoc on everything else, not only directly impacting your results, but also your body's ability to keep up with daily functions. So how do we support optimizing and improving our circadian rhythm? One, get outside at first light. What this is the sun rising. When the sun is first out, that's first light. Get outside during that time. Next is get outside at sunset. So if we are rising and going to bed with the sun, like we should be, unless you're an overnight worker, that's totally different. We could talk about that in another day. But if you are having a normal day, like most people are, you want to see first light and sunset to start normalizing and regulating your circadian rhythm. Also, a solid bedtime routine. We don't want to go to bed at like 10 o'clock one night, 6 p.m. the other night, 2 a.m. the next night. Like that's very, very stressful on your body. So have a solid bedtime routine and also a hard cutoff time. What this means is I want you to stop working or stop doing productive things at a certain time every night. Mine is 8 p.m. I'm done. Like I'm done responding to messages. Clients don't get really any response from me at 8 o'clock because if I don't do that, I don't shut off. And it's very hard for me to fall asleep. I'm not a good sleeper. Sleeping is not my forte. I don't excel in that area. So I have to do everything possible to get to bed at night. So I have a hard cutoff time at 8 o'clock every night. Also, I have a consistent schedule. Weekends count for this. Don't like sit there and only have a schedule Monday through Friday and like go stay up to 4 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, or I guess it'll be Friday and Saturday. We want to make sure that we are trying to keep a consistent schedule 7 days of the week. If you have a couple of days where it's off, you know, that happens, it's going to happen, but I would try your best to make sure we're having a consistent schedule. Limit water 2 hours prior to bed. This is due to you not having to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom because that is interrupted sleep and we don't want that. 2 is food prior to bed, limit to about 1 hour before. I would not eat anything closer to that when you're going to bed, not because it's going to help you to gain fat or anything of that nature. It's just because it's going to interrupt digestion and it's going to interrupt your sleep. And then next is going to be stopping blue light for about 1 hour prior to bed as well. So stopping water, food, blue light before you go to bed, 1 to 2 hours prior, so you can excrete everything and try and have digestion happen before you go to bed, so you're having a restful sleep and not interrupted sleep. Are there any questions so far? I see the chat a little bit. Okay. I don't know who Rebecca Autopilot is. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Okay, anyways, if you have any questions, put them in the chat, please. All right, we covered this. Now let's focus on how to implement this. So methods and tips on how to implement the steps we talked about. So everything we talked about in the past, we're gonna figure out now, how can I make this work with my schedule? How can I add these things into my day and make it more seamless and mesh with my schedule and not go against it? So first, this will be a little time consuming at first, but audit your time. I promise you're going to see a world of a difference when you do this. I challenge you to spend tomorrow noting down wherever your time goes every 15 to 30 minutes. I know for me, I can sometimes mindlessly scroll. If I'm working, I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like I'm a little bored. I'm going to start scrolling, right? And I can scroll for an hour sometimes. That's not productive time at all. It's going to uncover areas of your day that are not being utilized efficiently. It's kind of a rude awakening sometimes. You will see just how much time you do have. And in most cases, it is not that you need to better manage your time. It is just that focused time is really hard to come by. So the more focused you are, the more time you gain. Okay, so audit your time, audit your time, audit your time. And I honestly will do this periodically throughout my, like every quarter, just to see if things have changed, my habits have shifted at all. Next is we want you to go into autopilot. Autopilot is your best friend. So the goal here is to remove the friction in implementing these new protocols while also saving you time and effort in your pursuit of becoming your future self. It is not that you cannot make a decision. It is simply that you have made about 11 million already, and the thought of making another one is exhausting. And that paired with your fear of failure, making the wrong one, that just like puts you into total stressed out mode, and it's too much for you, right? So that is called decision fatigue. To eliminate that, autopilot is our best friend. A common example of this would be nutrition. It's very, very commonly a huge hurdle for most clients who come into the program. They're like, what do I eat? How do I eat enough? How do I make it work for me? How to eat healthy? I don't know how to do I don't know how to do all of this. So we're going to focus on keeping your meals consistent and simple Monday through Friday. It eliminates the effort and the time put into trying to craft a meal for breakfast and for lunch. It's like playing Tetris with macros. So dinner is usually less time constrained and you can allow for more variety there. But if you make even two staple meals, like you have a meal, two meals you go to breakfast and lunch, you can kind of alternate those two things. But I would really, really, really recommend putting that on a streamline and just allowing that to be the two things you choose from, to really autopilot the aspect of nutrition throughout your week for sure. Quick tip is get prepackaged, prepped, and pre-cut foods. They're my favorite because I'm the queen of buying like all these veggies and feeling so healthy and like I'm going to eat all of them, and I let them rot in the bottom of my fridge because I don't want to cut them up. So I get everything pre-cut, prepackaged, pre-prepped if I can, because I know I'm not going to spend the time to cut it up. I'm not going to spend the time to prep that stuff. It's just probably not going to happen. Every once in a blue moon it might happen, but usually it's not. So I know myself, and it's about knowing yourself and what your habits are. And mine is I will not cut my vegetables. So I get all my stuff pre-cut. All right. Now time blocking your schedule and scheduling out your day. Time blocking, even like just a focal point for the day. I'll show you this is like my calendar from Friday last week. Friday's a mosh posh. So I feel like it's a good example, but you want to block out either focuses or things you have to do and tasks you need to get done. Treat these honestly as meetings with yourself to that you need to get done. It has to happen, right? Like it's not, there's no option. There's not like I don't want to work out. I can just like watch this show instead. That's not going to happen. If it's in your calendar, it's getting done. You are a priority, not an option. So here you can see, I literally have, when I was making stories for masterclass, because I would have forgotten about this, right? I have, I'm getting ready when I'm eating breakfast. I have morning walk. This was a rest day for me, so there's no gym in here, but morning routine I have when I had calls, I have returned, recovery, grocery store. I allowed for 2 hours for that. Instagram posts, masterclass info, a mindset course I'm doing for my money mindset. So I have all these different tasks I'm doing, and I have to do them for this time allotted block that I have, because that is important to me. It's a priority, and I'm going to get all of that done. So I highly recommend time blocking. When it comes to your schedule, ideas here could be grocery shopping, training, or getting in movement. So for example, I had my morning walk for an hour. And then meal prepping or planning meals for the week, like schedule out when you're going to do that, when you're going to sit down for 30 minutes and plan your meals out. Planning when to eat. I literally have breakfast in here because I will not eat if I don't think about it. Like I'm just like going to grab and go. I have to like write out when I'm doing these things. And then a nighttime routine and morning routine. I told y'all I have it's it says, okay, 8 to 10:30 is the Friday, so it's a little bit later than usual, but nighttime routine starts at 8 o'clock, and then morning routine at 4 o'clock. Like, I have my times and I stick with those. All right. Next tip is going to be front loading your day. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how helpful this is for myself and then also clients. The biggest game changer for my clients is literally front loading their day or their week. This is when you knock out the most challenging task in the morning and in the beginning of your week when it's most applicable. 2 real life examples of this is water for me, protein, and steps are my most hefty goals to hit every day. So I will knock out at least 5K steps before 10 o'clock every morning. I will get in at least one of these before I go work out. In the morning, just 40 ounces of water. And then I will knock out a big breakfast. So about 30 to 50 grams of protein is in my breakfast. This is going to help you to get a head start on your larger task and keep that momentum going throughout your day. For a week example, so you have a wedding this weekend coming up and you know that you're not going to be able to get a workout in. Instead of just like writing that off, like, oh, it's okay, I have a reason, get your workouts done earlier in the week. If you work out typically Monday, Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, because that's when you have the most time available for you, move the last 2 workouts up in your week so you get everything done. There's no excuses. Your plan is always molded to you, not vice versa. So you can always move things around to best benefit you and suit your schedule for that week. Another tip is, where can we buy back your time? This is very, very, very important. So a lot of times we do things not efficiently because it's just like what we're used to. So preparing your meals for the following day, the night before. So get your lunch and breakfast prepped the night before, so you are not running around like a chicken with your head cut off in the morning, getting all the stuff figured out and prepared. If you wake up late, it's like, oh crap, I got to get breakfast ready and then lunch, and I'm going to forget my lunch, and that's in the refrigerator still. We can eliminate all of that worry, all that stress, all the cortisol rising we have already, and just do it before. Next is going to be, maybe you work out in the morning. So pack everything with you and taking it to the gym for your morning workout instead of going to the gym, coming back, showering, getting ready, eating breakfast, and then going back to your work, going to your work, not back home, going to your work. So we can literally knock off an hour and a half of time right there by just getting ready at the gym and having our on-the-go breakfast that we prepped the night before. All right, next method is habit stacking. There's 3 different ways to do this. We have the chain method, which is you link a new habit to an already established one. So we're going to pair brushing your teeth with filling up your water bottle. Say that's like you want to get this filled up in the morning to remember to drink your water. Take it a step further, because when you first start these new habits, you're not going to remember to do it. So literally put your water by your toothbrush at night. That way you are able to remember, okay, you know what? I'm starting this new habit. I'm going to fill this up while I'm brushing teeth. I'm going to brush my teeth, go to the fridge, and fill my water bottle up. That's a way to do the chain method. Next is a sequence method. So this is already pairing in a routine you have and adding something new in there. So say, for example, it's still drinking water right here. So you already do brush your teeth. I hope everyone brushes their teeth in the morning. You brush your teeth, fill water bottle up. You already do a devotional. And instead you're going to add in, while you're doing your devotional, to drink your water now. You fill the cup up. Now you can drink that water as well. And then pairing method is where you pair 2 habits together so they happen simultaneously. You can pick something you really love doing and pair it with a new habit you're like not too happy about, or you're just like, oh, that's going to be kind of a drag. So if you love podcasts like myself, I will pair that with a walk. Usually it can also be referred to as productive multitasking. You can also, if you love watching Netflix, pair it with a walking pad or on a treadmill and putting your phone on the treadmill and getting your steps in that way while you're watching your favorite show. Kind of just things like that is a good way to use a pairing method. All right, so overall, a little recap is the TRW framework. We are going to first do the roadmap to your future self. You have a handout at the end of this, so I'm going to give that to you. So we're going to have a little outline of how to do this, but we're going to first figure out what your future self looks like, how she acts, how she shows up, what is she doing, what is she wearing, all the glitz and glams of who you want to become. Next is going to be eating at maintenance. Again, 12 weeks at least. Eating at your TDEE, you're gonna have a formula to utilize that as well. It's a little calculator, it's a link, super easy and fun, not fun, but fast to use in your worksheet too. We're then going to focus on mitigating stress symptoms. As a busy woman, we have very, very high stress, and we have a lot going on that we tend to push to the side. So we're going to focus on emotional and stress eating, mitigating that, and looking at high cortisol symptoms and making sure that we are trying to mitigate our cortisol as much as possible. Improved energy. So we're going to address electrolyte imbalances and also our caloric makeup. So eating enough and electrolytes will be huge there. Auditing your time, optimize our focus time. Focus time is going to be the best time you'll ever spend. We want to, again, buy back that time. And then lastly is implementation. So habit stacking and front loading your day is going to be huge. All right, maybe some tough love here, but whenever you put yourself first, you will learn that it wasn't people not honoring your boundaries, it was yourself. Most times we set boundaries and we don't honor them ourselves. So how do we expect others to honor them? It first starts with you. You set the pace for everything around you, everyone who interacts with you, everything you're doing in your life. We have to set our own boundaries and make sure that's viable for us. That is going to happen. Next is you will show up as a better employee, boss, wife, mom, friend, family member, and most importantly, a version of yourself. You will also realize that confidence is built. You will realize that by putting yourself and your health first, you now have the confidence that you can in fact do hard things and do them exceptionally. And lastly, brain fog is gone. The reliance on caffeine is gone. Stress eating is gone. Trouble falling asleep and staying asleep is gone. But your future self, she is now looking back so proud of you for taking the first steps and never giving up on her. Putting yourself first is one of the most scariest things you can probably do. Also one of the most uncomfortable things you can do, but you are a better person for it. And I think that it's very important that we realize we are in control of everything we're doing, how we feel about our body, how we show up for people around us. And the more that I'll say this. I think that the most selfless thing you can do is put yourself first. The most selfish thing you can do is put yourself last. Okay. So that is just my 2 cents, but I have seen it with clients. It is a really, really, really big game changer, and it's going to really help you to propel in life and become that future version of yourself that you want to become so badly. Oops. Okay, so everyone go ahead and scan this QR code. I'm going to give a couple of minutes, and this will be yourself. It's going to take you to Facebook Messenger. And then it's going to bring up 2 things. You're going to have your self check-in sheet. I'll walk through that in a second. I'm going to cover that with y'all. And then it's also going to have, oops, I'm going to mute you, Destiny. Okay. It's also going to have your guide about staying healthy in a season of hustle workbook. So go ahead and again, scan that. And while y'all are doing that, I'm going to pull up your self check-in sheet so I can cover that with y'all. Has everyone gotten this? Let me pull the faces. Yeah, checks. Okay, cool. Okay, love it. Gonna stop screen sharing now. Actually, no, I need to keep screen sharing. Hold on. Darn, I'm on my phone. Ha 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 ha. I'll send you the QR code. Just like message me on Instagram or text me, and I will send you the QR code that way. Okay, this looks kind of confusing. Hold on. So here, oh no, what did I do? Hold on. What the heck? I'm lost. Hold on. I don't know where my screen went. Okay. We're going to cover the self check-in sheet really quick, because I think it's really helpful for people who are not clients. If you're a client, you have a check-in with me, so we give you that personalized approach. But if you're not a client, this will help as well. Okay, cool. So here's the self check-in sheet. So we have a program called the Resilient Collective, and it's our group program. It's mostly just like a training subscription, but I do give them this self check-in sheet. So it helps you to stay on track if you, again, are by yourself and you don't know what the heck to do or how to keep track of everything or what questions to ask, here's a good starting point for you. So you'll put your name in here. You'll put your start date when you're starting this new journey. You'll have training as well. So for example, for training, you could put if you're on a 3-day program or a 4-day program or a gym program, it can all be in there for you. You're going to put your starting calories, protein, carbs, and fats. Again, in the guide, that's hyperlinked where you'll press where it says here, it's underlined. You'll press that to find what your total daily energy expenditure should be, and you would find your macros from there. And then you're going to put a date. I would honestly recommend every week. So I would recommend you're going to log your weight. You'll log what your macros were. If you made changes, if not, cool. Progress photos, were they taken? Check. Macros, were they hit? Yes. Food quality, 1 to 5. 1 being it sucked. I ate McDonald's every day. 5 being it was amazing. I had everything organic. Okay. That's kind of like the scale. Training sessions, missed 1, missed 2, missed 3, missed 4, did not work out at all. Water, where your water fell that week. Steps, what the steps looked like for you, whether that 5K, was it between 8 to 9K? These are all averages too. Digestion, how many bowel movements do we have per the week? Sleep, 5, 6, 7, 8 or more hours. Stress, 1 being I had no stress at all. I was like, this week was totally effortless. It was amazing. 10 being I am about to pass out and just die on the side of the street because I'm like in over my head right now. Recovery, 1 being it sucked. I'm sore from my workout that would happen a week ago. 5 being I'm amazing. I feel no soreness. Like I'm recovering super, super well. Energy, same thing. 1, I am totally drained. I have nothing left in me. 5, actually it's the reverse of most of the other ones. 5 would be I feel like I have every caffeine in my veins, but I'm not drinking anything. Like I just feel like I have great natural energy. Mindset, you can go ahead and like go in depth here. How is your mindset? How can you get 1% better at the upcoming week? And then brain dump, like what are your thoughts for that week about yourself, how you should up for yourself, all that fun stuff. Any questions on the self check-in form at all? Hold on. Rebecca, you're funny. Okay, I'm gonna stop screen sharing now so I can see all y'all's faces. Okay, cool. So we now are gonna do, I have a Q&A like little slide. Let me actually I'm gonna keep screen sharing because there's a cute little slide that I can put up that has Q&A on there if I'm able to move this around. Okay, go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any questions. We're going to get into the Q&A now. Present. Okay, cool. Questions? Anybody? You can type them in the chat. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Let me actually go through the chat really quick. Okay. Assistant helping Rebecca Meredith take notes. Oh, I was like, I don't know who autopilot is, Rebecca. That's so funny. Okay. Not my toddler who sucks energy, skips naps, and bounces off the walls. Energy, love it. Okay. Kelsey, I sleep the best when I get outside. Yes. State I live in does not support this. Love the sunrise. Yeah, honestly. Okay, Nina, kind of go in depth. What do you mean? The state that you live in does not support that? Is it like dark a lot? Is it raining a lot?
Yeah, so like I live in Michigan. So like currently our sun is rising at like 8 a.m. and
Okay.
then it's already setting by the time I get home from work. And then obviously with like daylight savings time, it will help a little bit. But throughout the winter months, it's pitch black by 5:30.
Okay.
And obviously I'm not going to sleep that early, but I have a hatch light and that helps out a lot. So it's like usually when daylight savings time comes for Michigan or maybe even other states, like a lot of, at least for me, my circadian rhythm is messed up. One, because time change, but then also because it's pitch black and there's only daylight for like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, can you still get first light at 8 a.m.? Can you go outside around that time?
Yeah, so usually, yeah, I do. I'll sit and like I'll watch the sunrise every morning. And then like I'll watch it and then I'll go outside and like go on my walk. And then even when it's winter months where I can't, I'll have it set to like sunrise and sunset. So I'll have at least like a mimic of it, which actually does help my sleeping. So
Yeah.
it's
The
very
hat,
nice.
it's very, very beneficial, but there
Sun
is
is better.
yeah, there's something called a UV ray, and those are really great for us. So we do want to get that sunlight. So even if it's, again, like for example, I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Is the sun up at that time? No, it's not up till like 7 o'clock. But I make sure I wake up at the hatch. If you have like a red light, you can use red light. I have not invested in that yet, to be very honest, but it's a great investment. But I will get outside with my dog and go on a walk really quick when the sun is rising. So even though I'm waking up way before, it does help to still get first light. First light's still super important. And at nighttime, even if it's at 5:30, like, does that suck? Yeah, but it's still beneficial to kind of get your body in the habit of, okay, at 5:30, it's time to start kind of like decompressing and getting ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
So we can still utilize those times, even though they are a little wonky and not super in line with our schedule right now. They will still help get your body in a more awake state and then a more restful state. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And even like I took the past few days, I'm at work at 8. So like if I can't go outside and it's already daylight or like starting to be daylight, next slide. That one. It's like I'll set like a meeting time, and if I'm in the office, I'll just take a lap around the parking lot if like the sun comes out,
Yeah.
or because it was very cloudy, so it like rays it popped out, and I was like, I'm gonna be right back, and I just took a lap around the parking lot, so you can sneak it in.
For
I've
sure.
learned to put an effort to sneak it in, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, here's the time blocking ideas. Are you good there?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. Okay, who else has questions? Destiny popped in a little late. I can send you a slideshow afterwards. I hate that you missed everything. But do you have any questions for me at all?
Well, for one, great to see you again.
Yeah.
Sorry, you know how it gets. I was doing my mom thing, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to jump on." So I would really appreciate the slide. But I love the whole time block thing, and I totally get. I believe it was Rebecca who was just talking. Yeah, it's so tough for me to get outside and stuff too, just because first thing I wake up, I'm like you, Renee, and I have to wake up like 4 a.m. To kind of start my day and try to get things going. But I can't necessarily go outside and walk because, I can't leave my kids at home. And then by the time I'm getting off, I'm picking them up from school. But you know what? I have gotten so adamant about just taking them with me so I can get a good walk outside, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, are we going to walk again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we're going to walk." But it can be very difficult trying
Yeah,
to get outside.
for sure. Yeah, no, I get that. I think it's very difficult, but I think y'all can still do it. I think if you want it, you're gonna get it happen. You're gonna make it happen, right? I think, again, like there's some days where it's like that's not gonna happen. But if you kind of have the mindset of like I'm gonna try and do as much as possible, that's still winning in my book. Like as long as maybe it's like 1 day a week and that's all you can do. Okay. Maybe it's 2 days a week. Perfect. But like implementing that habit of, okay, like first light's important for me and like my body, my functions. Let's go ahead and like try and see it today. And then sunset's like great. And who doesn't love a good sunset? Like I will always go out of my way to get a good sunset view. I love a sunset. So I think it's like a really fun way to like end your day as well. But I definitely get it's hard to go outside, especially with little ones. Like they have a mind of their own and they have their own schedule. I don't have that. I have like a dog and he is on my schedule. So well, as much as I can make him on my schedule. But I definitely get that. I just think just like have the mindset of, okay, this is beneficial for me. So like, how can I make it happen? Like, how can I make it work? It's not going to happen every day, but it can happen some days. So I'll like take those as wins. Love it. What other questions do we have? Rebecca said, right now it's impossible because there was a huge car crash near us and tanker leaked toxic fumes. Oh no. Well, once those fumes are gone, I don't know how to make those fumes go away for you. I wish that I could just like poof and they're gone. What other questions do we have, y'all? Questions about steps, implementation, different tips and tricks, things you may be struggling with that you want just like direct feedback on. Any questions at all? Nothing? Making light of a bad situation. Love that we have windows. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. What was y'all's biggest takeaways? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I totally have a question.
Yeah.
So, especially I love that, it's all about like the busy woman, because we all are so busy in life. How do you find yourself amping yourself back up? Like, so one of my biggest things is like the beginning of the week, I'm doing great. I've meal prepped for the whole week. I'm doing awesome. But by Wednesday, like once we hit the evening, I feel like I've hit a crash. And now I'm struggling to complete the rest of my week. And I've done so well. And I get so down on myself because I'm like, man, you've done great for the last 3 days. And here you are. And now you're slacking. And now you don't seem to be eating the right foods. And I really have a hard time just like being upset with myself when I hit that wall.
Yeah. I first want to tell you it's very valid. And I think everyone's experience, like I see Tara's head shaking, like everyone, Nina's head shook, like everyone's going to experience this. So like, no, you're not alone at all. I think what could help is acknowledging that's a pattern, right? Like we're acknowledging that midweek, I'm going to crash. I'm not going to have energy. I'm not going to want to do any of this. So how can I take care of my future self and prep more, whether it's like, for example, is there a day of the week where you typically like kind of fall off? Is it Wednesday? Is it Thursday? Is it Friday? Like what day do you find yourself like, shoot, I don't feel like doing this again?
It's Wednesday night. Like, so I'll get up and, do my workout, and I've done good all through Wednesday day. But once we hit that evening time and it's like dinner time, I'm just like, damn, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this again tomorrow.
Yeah. How do you prep your meals?
Yeah, it's the only way that I can, because at least in my household, like my kids, I try to do a good job of like feeding them the same things, but they don't want to always be as healthy. Like, for instance, they love pasta. Well, pasta is just not a good thing for me because I don't know how to stop eating it when it's time to eat it. So the only way that I can make sure that I'm efficiently eating my correct macros is to make sure I've meal prepped and separated in dishes, and I just warm up my food after I'm done eating with them. So like, I mean, even Thursday will hit and I still will have the meal prep in the fridge, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to eat that. Like, they're having pizza. So like, it's tough.
I think two things here. So really quick, you find that nutrition's the hardest part. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So have you ever tried to have what they're eating, but still have protein with it? Like, have you ever tried to just mesh your meals? What I'm saying is like, if you want pizza, allowing yourself to have pizza, but have something on the side with more protein. So you can have like a slice of pizza plus some of your prepped meal, or like a protein shake or something else. You're going to get your protein in because you're not going to get protein from pizza, right? It's not going to happen.
Right.
A way for us to still prioritize that and still like, again, the program is not made for you to fit it, you fit the program. And so like, how can I still make it work for me in this moment? Can I have a pizza slice? Yes. Can I also add maybe chicken onto it, or extra pepperonis, or a protein shake? I can like make protein ice cream for my dessert, or what can I do in this moment to allow myself what I do want, which is not the prep food I have in my fridge, but also still be able to incorporate some protein to like get my macros hit. Have you ever tried a balancing act at all?
Full transparency, no. And it's not even, and I think it's because it's just my own self-discipline, truthfully. Like, it's like, as soon as I get that bite of pizza, it's just, and I'm using pizza as an example. It can be lots of different things, but pizza, it seems to be the hard one. But I'll eat that pizza and then it's just like, okay, well, this tastes great. And I know what's in my fridge does not taste as great as this. And then it's the willpower to be like, okay, if I'm going to eat this piece of pizza, you don't need 3 slices, maybe just have the one. So I know it, for me, it's a lot of self-discipline.
Yeah. I think the most helpful thing here would be to challenge yourself in those moments. Like, be able to have the pizza, have one slice, and walk away. And the more that you practice that discipline, the more that you are able to have, because the situation here, it's probably that you feel like you're never going to have that food again. It's like, it tastes so good, I'm not going to have it again because I'm going to be super restrictive and like super strict on my diet. I'm going to get right back to it. I'm not going to let it happen again. And then it's going to happen again a week later, 2 weeks later, because like we're going to have the food in front of us again.
Right.
So what could help is you being able to disconnect the emotion from food. So what that looks like is we incorporate maybe pizza once a week. If this, again, pizza's the example, but, or like if it's an Oreo, like for me, I love Oreos. Like I can see a whole sleeve of those suckers. And so when I was first starting my like food repairing relationship, I would have an Oreo a day because I disconnected my emotion with that food. And I allowed myself to have that and I fit my macros and it was fine. And that was a way for me to be able to not have the emotional tie to food that I did have. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. I think that I'm doing exactly what you said. It's just like I tell myself, oh, you can't have that because that doesn't fall into what you're trying to do. And so then it's almost like you're doing like reverse psychology on yourself type of thing. Like, you can't have that because it's going to be bad. So don't ever think you can have it ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the most helpful thing here is going to be like, there's food scarcity mindset and there's food abundant mindset. I want everyone to be in a food abundant mindset. Most are on food scarcity, especially if you're on like a fat loss journey or weight loss journey, or you've had any kind of like calorie counting in the past. Most calorie counting is not beneficial for you because it's like more of a restrictive eating. That's why I love macros, because macros teaches you the true fundamentals of nutrition and knowledge behind what carbs, fats, and proteins are. But whenever we have a food scarcity mindset, we feel like we're never going to have the food again. For example, for me, around the holidays, I was the queen of like getting not five, I'm like being exaggerating, but like 5 plates of all the food and like eating until I could not physically eat anymore. Because that was like my 2 days, Thanksgiving and Christmas, for my 2 days, I could like be off track and not restrict myself and like eat everything I want to eat, pie and cookies and stuffing and cornbread and like everything. I was eating it all. Like I was a friggin' human garbage disposal. It was awful. And I realized it's like obviously not healthy, but in that moment I was operating off of food scarcity and not food abundant. Food abundant mindset is like, I can have this food whenever I want to. There's no limitations on me at all. Like I can have it if I want to have it. And so whenever we disconnect ourselves from the emotional tie we have with this food, we operate in a food abundant mindset and not a food scarcity mindset.
I love it. I love it.
That's a good question. Had to unpack some stuff.
Yeah.
Did that answer help you? Answer your
No,
question?
it definitely does. I think that I definitely am in that scare mindset of eating things, because I think and I'm sure, and I can't speak for everybody, but I'm sure we all at one point like have like people that we look at, Renee, like you being one of them for me personally, like, and think, man, I love the physical capability that you have. I love the mindset. I love the build. I love how you've sculpted your body. And then at moments like I'll see like Instagram, I'm like, bro, they're eating donuts. Like, how are they doing? How are they doing this?
I feel that. I had a conversation with, I made a story about this, but I had a conversation with a client earlier. And she was like, I love that you like, you're not super skinny and like you, she said, what'd she say? She was like, even whenever I'm super fit, like I still have muscle. I still have like, I'm not going to be a small girl. And she was like, was not saying I was fat, right? But she was like, you're not a small petite girl who like is super lean and has all this like muscle definition. She's like, it's very like attainable and it's very real. And I found that when I was first starting my fitness journey, I would compare myself to Instagram models and like people who were on their fitness journey, and they were Instagram influencers and they're in sports bras and like leggings and they look amazing. They're like in swimsuits on the beach and they like have these abs, and like that's never going to be me. And so I feel like once I acknowledged that and like I was okay with that, like my body physically, I can have abs, I'm super lean, but like that's not attainable for me year round. It's just not going to happen. Like I know that about myself and I don't want to be there. Like it's just not healthy, right? For some people, they have that genetically, they can be super lean in their abdomen and they have abs year round, whether they're in a bulk or they're in a cut. Like, it does not matter at all. That is not Renee. And so I think that once we acknowledge where we're at, what our genetics look like, and where we are going to sit comfortably, we release the strains we have on ourselves, and like we have freedom, because we realize like where we're at and where we feel comfortable with is where we're at right now. Or like we kind of more so work towards achieving that realistic goal for ourselves, and not trying to make ourselves smaller and like shrink ourselves, or bigger if like we want more muscle, right? Like, there are some things genetics do play a huge role in. And I know I will never have like a massive butt and a very tiny waist and like decked out, I don't know, like I can get shoulders sometimes, but like I'm never gonna have like this like bodybuilding bikini figure. Like it's not gonna happen unless I'm really dieting for it. And I don't want to diet I don't want to diet year round to achieve that physique. Like, I know that. So I'm not gonna do that. And so like I know where I sit comfortably. It's also like, as you go along this journey, you learn your body better. Like, you learn where your body wants to sit at. You learn kind of like what is comfortable for you, what's healthy, what's unhealthy, what's maintainable, what's not maintainable. And once you kind of like gauge that, you again like just release all the strain you're putting on your body and like strain you're putting on yourself to like look a certain way, and you just have freedom, and you being able to lift the weight you want to lift and eat how you want to eat and wear what you want to wear. And that's just like a whole entire new sense of freedom that you're going to experience. Kind of a little tangent, but any other questions? Destiny, I'm clapping. Nina.
I have fun. So kind of what like Destiny said, something popped up of like, what do you do when like I can spend hours, not literally, planning all of my meals, what I want to eat, and then like I'll plan on Sunday. Okay, on Sunday I want to eat. If I plan on Sunday, I'll plan like, okay, on Thursday for dinner, you're gonna have, I'll just use an example of pizza again. And then I'm like, Thursday comes around and I'm like, well, I don't really want to eat pizza tonight. This will never happen. Pizza is always a go. And then on Friday, I have my food prepped and everything, but I'm like, okay, well, I don't crave that either. Sorry, my cats are fighting. And Friday I have food prepped, but I don't want to eat any of that either. Or Saturday I have it all made and everything, but I don't want to eat that either. And then like I'm one of those people where like if I'm craving something, I need to eat it or else I get cranky. But then also it's like if I'm not craving anything, I just won't eat. So then it's like if I'm not in a mood for pizza and all the other stuff I have prepped, I'm also not in a mood for. So then I'll just be like, okay, well, I can't think of what I'm in a mood for, what I'm craving. So I'll just grab a protein bar and like that will be my dinner. Mm-hmm. Or I just like I won't eat it. Or if I don't have protein bars right now because I'm trying not to like rely on them. So like I just won't eat. Because it's like if I can't figure out what I'm craving, but it's like if I'm stressed out, like I don't sense hunger a lot. Yeah. So like I have to put it into like my time blocking, which I didn't think ever to do. So it's like if I'm not hungry, if I'm not at a 1 scale, and if I'm not craving anything or I can't figure out what I'm in a mood for, I just won't eat. Yeah. So then what?
Do you typically do you crave salty and sweet, or do you crave like crunch? Like what, when you crave something, what are those cravings usually? Is like a specific
It could be anything. Like, or the other day I craved an apple and I have never once eaten like a whole apple in my life. So that was it just depends. I could crave something salty to the point where it's like, well, I don't really have anything salty here, so I'll just make salad and dump a bunch of salt on it. Or like I can grab like pumpkin seeds or like nuts and dip it in salt, which is not healthy. Don't do that. I like salt. I do that.
What, Nina?
Yes. No. Or if I'm craving something sweet, this is just bad habits. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have much money, so like I would do like bread, butter, and then like honey on top. So I'll just do that just because I'm craving something salt and sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, how do you even, I guess I need to figure out like, how do you balance out your cravings though too?
Yeah. Maybe. Well, I'm speaking from experience, not speaking from experience, speaking from knowing you. You don't eat enough. So that's why
I don't,
that's
because
why
I don't crave anything. Like if I'm so stressed out, or because I mean I'm in a constant level of stress, but like if I am too busy or if I am too stressed out, I just don't sense hunger. I'm
Yeah.
not a bored eater. I'm not a emotional eater either. So it's like, how do I balance it all?
Okay, two things. One, usually cravings are salty or sweet. So I would have 2 staple meals for breakfast, 2 staple meals for lunch, and 2 staple meals for dinner that have either salty or sweet. For example, for me, for breakfast, I usually want salty or sweet. So my salty or like savory is going to be my chicken sausages with tortillas. And I'll add some cheese if I want it in there. And then I also have a protein smoothie I'll have. Those are my like 2 salt. Like, do I want salty? Do I want sweet? Like, do I want savory? Do I want sweet for breakfast? For lunch, it could be like a salad with some candied, not candied, but like dried cranberries and like something sweet with it. Or I could have like an actual like meat centered meal with some carbs. Dinner, same kind of thing, right? And so I think if you have staple meals that you know you do enjoy eating and that have the sources that you need to sustain your macro goals, that's going to be a way for you to be like, okay, like not again, the whole decision fatigue situation happening, right? Like that's what's happening right now with you. It's like, I can't make another decision. Like I'm tapped out today. So you have 2 options, breakfast, sweet or salty. Okay, I want salty today. I'll go for this option. And just having those things. I think that the craving aspect is huge whenever we are not eating enough. Like most clients that I work with, if we eat at your maintenance or eat like fulfilling your macronutrients, you're not going to have the cravings you have right now. And like, I know, again, we know that you don't eat enough, like you just don't have those hunger cues, which is we're working on that. But if we're eating at maintenance, eating to sustain our body, the cravings dissipate. Like I hardly have cravings ever anymore. And I've been at maintenance for a while now because I have like health stuff going on. But when I'm going to cut, I do have more cravings. Like I want like the McFlurries and like stuff like that, right? Like I love those. But I don't really have that craving whenever I'm at maintenance, because when you're eating to fulfill your nutrient goals for macros, you are fulfilling every need that you have. And you can have enough room. If you do have cravings, you can honor those cravings too. Like your macros aren't low. You can easily have the probably cravings you are wanting. So it's just a matter of being able to like, again, have those 2 staple meals, salty and sweet for each breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and like maybe even some snacks too. And like having a hard drive ready to go, like in your notes by Tara. And being able to like revert back to that whenever you are having time that's like really hard to make a decision about nutrition. Look in your notes and see like, what do I want? Okay, cool. And like always have those options on hand in your fridge and your pantry too.
Okay. I don't know why I didn't think about that.
Good. Love it. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I can do one more question, y'all, and then we'll hop off. Any other questions? Tara, Rebecca said bread, butter, and honey is a yummy guilty pleasure. Honestly, have y'all ever tried tortillas with butter and sugar?
No, but I feel like that's worse than the bread and the butter and honey. I don't add sugar in there.
So good. It's so good. I love honey though. Rebecca said yes. I love it. Flour tortilla, cinnamon, and honey. Yes. It's like an at-home sopapilla. I love it. Oh, she's typed. Okay, cool. Honestly, I love bread, butter, and cinnamon sugar. My favorite too. All right, I'll let y'all go. If you have any questions, shoot them in the chat. If you're in the WhatsApp community chat or the client group chat, or just message me on Instagram. I appreciate y'all for coming. Thank you. I'm going to send the replay out tomorrow to everybody else who is not able to join. So I'll get that out to y'all. And then the worksheet you have, and then self-check-in. Of course. Bye, y'all. Have an amazing freaking week. Go be resilient. Everyone, okay? Heck yeah. All right. Bye.